السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفدائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر دعوتي لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلى على محمد وآل محمد. First of all, I would like to express my sincere condolences on the starting of these days of Azar of Abu Abdullah Hussein, the martyrdom of Sayyid al-Shuhada and all the companions of the Holy Imam in the plains of Karbala. Today is the start of our new year, and all the people around the world, whenever they start their new year, they start it with joy, they start with happiness, with new cloth. But we, the Shia Ali ibn Abi Talib, and those who are connected to Sayyid al-Shuhada, we are starting our new year with black cloth. We are starting with sadness. And when we see the whole concept of sadness and happiness that we have, just we enumerate few examples of happiness that we have, and in reality we see that are these happiness or sadnesses. We take the example of the ayat that we have, which is the biggest and the highest commemoration of Eid that we have in our commemorations and ceremonies. Throughout the year, the highest point and the highest Eid that we have as Shia is Eid al-Ghadir. That is the Sayyid al-Ayat, the best of all the Eids. But if you see Eid al-Ghadir, is that a day of happiness or a day of sadness? In reality, if you see, that day what happened, the Prophet, after he finished his last Hajj, which is Hajjatul Wada, and he was going back towards Medina, and on the way, he gathered all his companions and he raised Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam and presented to the people that he is my successor. And after that, all the different people, they came and they congratulated him. And they said, Bakhil, Bakhil, laka ya Ali. All congratulations for you that you have become our Mawla and the Mawla of all the people in this universe. But if you see inside what happened after Ghadir, as soon as the Prophet closed his eyes from this universe and left this world, as soon as this happened, straight away they gathered in Saqifa and they usurped the haqq, the rights of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And if you see that day, Eid al-Ghadir, the day of Ghadir was the foundation of Karbala. The whole foundation of Karbala was made on that day. That when these hypocrites, when they are coming, congratulations to Imam Ali alayhi salam, but internally which kind of intentions they had. And as soon as the Prophet passed away, straight away they gathered in a way that they gave so much trouble to Ali ibn Abi Talib that he had to stay inside his house for more than 25 years. That in the khutbah al-Shaqshaqiyya, the third khutbah of Nahj al-Balagh, he addresses his sadness and the grief that he had. And he expresses that in a way that فَبِالْعَيْنِ نَجَى وَبِالْحَقِّ شَجَى. It is that if it is that in my eyes there is something which is stuck that I could not see them, and on my throat there There is a bone which is stuck that I cannot even talk. That was the whole musibah that he had. But the foundation was the gharib. If you see the gharib is the best of the Eid, Sayyidul Ayat. But if you see inside, if you dig inside, you find that there is a sadness inside. You compare all the Eids the same way. And you know all these Eids that we have, let's say Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr that we say, commemorate. If you see in Mafatih al-Jinan, Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi, what kind of amal he says and he recommends to do, the mustahab amal, the mustahab action of Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr is to recite dua al-Nudba, the dua of remembrance of our child al-Imam, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. The dua which is full of cries and full of tears and full of lamentations. That's the whole dua that we are supposed to recite as soon as the day rises on the day of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. And Eid al-Adha also the same way. The sacrifice that we are doing for that goat, that in the Holy Quran Allah describes the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, that how he sacrificed his son. But at the end he said that, oh Ibrahim, you made your dream to become true. But at the end that sacrifice did not happen. He says that وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. We have transformed this dhibh and this sacrifice to a greater sacrifice. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخَرِينَ. We have left this duty and this task, this sacrifice to another greater person. We have left this duty to the fakhr of Ibrahim, and this was manifested by the sacrifice of all the shuhada in the battlefield of Karbala. If you see Eid al-Adha, all these things that we have, Jum'ah is the same way. We remember our Imam, that he is not here. We are happy, it's Eid. But what kind of happiness it is when my Imam is not there? That's why I start my day with dua. So if you dig inside, you see that there is sadness. Another Eid we have, let's say, Mab'ath. We commemorate and we are happy that today is the day when the Prophet was appointed and he declared himself as being the Prophet openly. So on that day, if you see what happened to the Prophet, that was the day of grief and sadness and all the lamentations and calamities for the Prophet starting on that day of Mab'ath. When everybody, those who are telling that you are Sadiq, you are Ameen, all these people who are calling the Prophet as being Sadiq and Ameen, they all changed and their true color, their true faces came, and they started telling to the Prophet that you are Majnoon, you are mad, and you are a sorcerer. All these things that happened, that people were throwing rubbish on the head of the Prophet when he declared himself as being the Prophet. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed in the Quran, مَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لِتَشْقَىٰ. We have not sent this Quran on you to make you fall into trouble. But you see, each and every event, you know, all these, there is 1 month throughout the year we have. In that month, there is no kind of sadness. It's all happiness, all ayat, all milad, all full of good events. It's the month of Sha'ban. There is no shahada in that month. But if you see, the 3rd of Sha'ban, Milad of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, is the day of his birthday. But in reality, is it a happiness or sadness in reality? Just the name of Abu Abdullah Hussain makes the hearts cry and lament. The 4th of Sha'ban, the birth anniversary of Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. You know why he was born even? The birthday that you are commemorating on the 4th of Sha'ban, why? came into universe, why Imam Ali alayhi salam married to the mother of Al-Fadl Abbas? Because when Janabi Sayyidah, she passed away. And after that, Imam Ali is telling his brother Aqil that, oh Aqil, make sure that find me a wife, a lady with whom I can get children, a child which is brave and can help the mission of my son. This is the whole day of sadness that you are commemorating. Then the 5th of Sha'ban, the birth anniversary of our 4th Imam, Sayyid al-Sajidin, Zayn al-Abidin, same way, the Imam which has cried his entire life after Abdullah was saying, whenever food was in front of him, he's crying. Whenever he would see meat, whenever he would see food, whatever he would see, he would just spend his entire life crying until he passed away from this universe. This was his life, and so on. All these ayat when we see. In the same way, the new year, that everybody is starting with happiness, but we are starting this day with sadness, with black cloth, with tears, and with lamentation. This is how we start. Even the birthdays that we commemorate, our own birthdays. You know, sometimes people, they commemorate their birthdays, but in reality, if you dig also within that birthday, is it a day of happiness or sadness? When you see the birthdays that we have, and we realize that today, if it is my birthday, and I've turned 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever, it means that from the entire life that I had, 50, 40 years have been reduced from my life. I'm getting closer and closer to my grave from each and every breath that I'm taking, and from each and every step that I'm taking in this life. I'm getting closer and closer to the end of my life. I'm ready or not. So these are the realities. And of course, in the khutbah, in Nahj al-Balagh, Khutbatul Muttaqeen, when Imam Ali describes the characteristics, specifications of the Muttaqeen, of the pious people, one of the characteristics that Imam describes in that khutbah, he says, قُلُوبُهُمْ مَحْزُونَ. Their hearts are in grief, their hearts have sadness inside. قُلُوبُهُمْ مَحْزُونَ. This is the characteristic of the muttaqi, of a pious person that Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam described in that khutbah, Khutbatul Hammam, which is called Khutbatul Muttaqin. And this is why all the believers and the mu'mineen, they have such a burning, such a fire inside their heart, that the Imam says it will never ever extinguish. إن لقتل الحسين حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. It will never extinguish. Every day is Ashura and every land is Karbala. This sadness, this grief and lamentation is something that accompanies the heart of a mu'min in which and every situation that he goes. He has always that type of grief within it. Even a bird might be happy, but when we dig inside, we find that there is sign of sadness inside his heart. And when we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given such an elevation and status to Abu Abdullah, I was saying that nobody in this universe had that status. The status that Abu Abdullah Husseini had, and he has. He has kept the remembrance of Sayyid al-Shuhada in each and everything, in each and everything. You know, as soon as we are born, when the new baby is born from the womb of his mother, the first thing we which is recommended, which is mustahab, to give to that baby, to this child, the first thing that that baby should taste and should eat is a part from the dust of Abu Abdullah, from that khaq of Karbala. As soon as it's born. When we pass away, when we die, it's recommended to get the shroud and to cover them the dead person with the shroud of Karbala of Abu Abdullah Hussein written in that khaq. It is recommended to put that dust of Sayyid al-Shuhada on his tongue, on his forehead, and to rub that on few parts of his body. In the same way, water, Allah has kept water as life, and the universe cannot exist without water. Life, water is life. أنزلنا من السماء ماء. We have made life, water, the source of life. But even in that source of life, there is that remembrance of Abu Abdullah Hussein, that whenever the person wants to drink water, it is said that whenever you drink that water, remember Sayyid al-Shuhada, remember his thirst. In each and every occasion, you find all different occasions throughout the year. On the day of Ghadir. Day of Ghadir is the day which is attributed to Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. It is his day. But the recommended action of Eid Ghadir is the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein. The day of Mab'ath is the day which is attributed to the Holy Prophet of Islam sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But the recommended action on the day of Mab'ath is ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada Abu Abdullah Hussein. On each and every event you see Laylatul Qadr, the best action which is performed on the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr is ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein. On the 13th of Rajab, the birth anniversary of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the recommended action on that day is ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein. 15th of Sha'ban, the birth anniversary of our 12th Wali Imam Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. The recommended action on the 15th of Sha'ban is the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein. In each and every event attributed to whichever Imam it is, but the recommended action in each and every event is the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein. He has kept his remembrance in everything. Whenever a person is sick, when there is no medicine and no cure from anybody, the last remedy that can cure every sicknesses, the body sicknesses and the hearts, the sicknesses of the heart, is the turbah and the dhikr of Abu Abdullah Hussein. In Salat, Salat is the best action of worship. When it is said that Salat Amududdin is the pillar of religion. In Qubilat, Qubila ma siwaha. When Ruddat, Rudda ma siwaha. If that is accepted, everything is accepted. If that is rejected, everything is rejected. When Allah describes the sifat and the characteristics of the believers of the mu'minun, He says in the Surah Al-Mu'minun, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The first characteristic, الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. But even for that salah, the recommendation is to keep that dust, the remembrance of Abu Abdullah Hussein when we pray and when we do our salah. That's the recommendation in the best of actions of worship that we perform. That Allah has kept the remembrance of Abu Abdullah in everything. That even in the dua, there are few places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He accepts the wishes and the dua. One of those places is تحت القبة الحسينية. Is that place when the person he raises his hand, Allah says, I'm ashamed to deny his hand which has been raised in front of me with the wasila of Abu Abdullah Hussein. On Arafah is the day of forgiveness. The month of Ramadan, it is said that the Shaqi is the one who cannot be forgiven in the holy month of Ramadan. And then he says that that a person who is not forgiven in the month of Ramadan, then there is no other way he can be forgiven, because the mercy, the doors of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are open in such a way that the shaqi is the one who did not benefit from all this mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during that month. But there is still one hope, unless he stands in the wuquf on the day of Arafah, on the land of Arafah, and he does the wuquf on the day of Arafah. There are few sins which are forgiven only on that land of Arafah. It's the best place when a person can do his wuquf during Hajj. But when you read the hadith regarding the day of Arafah, the Imam says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَتَجَلَّى لِزُوَّارِ قَبْرِ الْحُسَيْنِ قَبْرَ أَهْلِ عَرَفَاتِ. Allah manifests Himself to the Zawar, to the pilgrims of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, before His own pilgrims in the land of Arafah. قَبْرَ أَهْلِ عَرَفَاتِ. يَقْضِي حَوَائِجَهُمْ وَيُشَفِّعَهُمْ ثُمَّ يَأْتِي بِأَهْلِ عَرَفَاتِ. First of all, the guests of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein are taken care. Their du'as are accepted. Their sins are forgiven. And after that is done, then the angels may come to the guests of Allah Himself, which are doing the wuquf in the land of Arafah. And they are doing to Him, to the guests of Allah, the same way they did to the guests of Sayyid al-Shah. He has kept the remembrance of Abu Abdullah in everything. And this is the promise that He has given. The promise that Allah has given to all the believers in the Holy Quran when He says, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. You remember me and I will remember you. And we see how Sayyid al-Shuhada has remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in each and every step of his life, in each and every breath that he was taking, in each and every situation of his life. إلهي تركت الخلق درا في هواك وأيتمت العيال لكي أراك. إلهي فإن قد قطعتني في الحب إربا لما مال الفؤاد إلى سواك. Remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in each and every occasion. إلهي ماذا وجد من فقدك وما الذي فقد من وجدك. How beautiful is this sentence. Oh Allah, what has He lost? The one who has gained you. And what has He gained? The one who has lost you. This was the life of Sayyid al-Shuhada, when he was remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in each and every aspect of his life, and how Allah has fulfilled His promise. You remember me, I will remember you. I will put your name rising the highest flag in this universe, that every year all the Shias will gather, regardless of the bombardings happening by the enemies, and regardless of all the propaganda that the media is doing against the Shia, but the name of Sayyid al-Shuhada will never ever extinguish that harara, that fire, that burning which is in the hearts of the believer will never extinguish. That is the remembrance of Sayyid al-Shuhada which is placed. As the poet says, that, oh believer, raise yourself in such a status, raise yourself in such a status, that before every decree, before taking every decision, Allah Himself asked His servant, oh servant, tell me what is your decision? Tell me what is your satisfaction? This is the maqam, nafs al-radiyah, which is going beyond radiyah and reaching to the nafs al-mardiyah, and not only sticking to the nafs al-mardiyah, but goes to the seventh level of the nafs, which is nafs al-kamila, which was the nafs of Sayyid al-Shuhada. After getting calamities after calamities, still that nafs is mutma'in, still that nafs of meeting the beloved in the heart. And these were the days when all the Aimma were sad, when they would see the moon of Muharram sighting on the sky, they would be sad, and the Ma'asum stops smiling. He stops laughing as soon as he sees the moon of Muharram. Each and every Ma'asum gathers, laments, and we have the example of the eighth Imam, Al-Rida alayhi salatu wassalam, when he gathered, when he was sitting with his companions, that his companion Da'wal al-Khuzai is narrating, Haka Da'wal al-Khuzai قال دخلت على سيدي ومولاي علي بن موسى الرضا صلوا على محمد وآل محمد في مثل هذه الأيام. I have entered to the eighth Imam during these days. فرأيته جالسا جلسة الحزين. I saw him that he was sitting in a very sorrowful way. And when I saw that he was sitting with his companions, he asked me, come and sit close to me. And he says, now you recite. And when I started reciting, the lamentation and calamities on the eighth Imam was such that he starts crying and weeping, that his sound overwhelmed and overcome the whole room until he fainted. And then he says to his companion, whose name was Ibn Shabib, the son of Shabib, the companion of Imam al-Rada alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, Ya Ibn Shabib, in kunta bakiyan li shay'in, fabki lil-Husayn, فَإِنَّهُ ذُبِحَ كَمَا يُذْبِحُ الْكَبْشِ. Oh, the son of Shabib, whenever you feel sad, you feel like crying, then cry on my Jadd, on my grandfather Hussein, because he was slaughtered the way a goat is slaughtered. But I would raise my hands and address to the king of Khurasan. I would raise an address to Imam Al-Rida alayhi salam, saying that, oh Imam, I have seen differently, oh my Imam. Even the goats are not slaughtered the way your grandfather was slaughtered in the land of Karbala. Oh Imam Al-Rida, whenever we go to Hajj and we take the goat to the slaughterhouse, we make sure that we give you drops of water. Give a bit of water to that goat, to that animal, to drink a bit before he gets killed. But salam on your grandfather, Abu Abdullah Hussein, who did not get water for 3 full days, and who left this universe hungry and thirsty. I would say, oh Imam al-Rida, whenever we go to the slaughterhouse in Hajj to sacrifice the goat, we make sure that our goat doesn't see other animals to be slaughtered. It is recommended not to slaughter one animal in front of other animals. But oh Imam al-Rida, your grandfather was slaughtered in a way when his sister was looking from an elevated place, addressing to the grandfather, addressing to the Holy Prophet in Medina, Salli alayka malaikatu as-sama لا معبود سواك يا غياث المستغيثين أغثنا يا أرحم المساكين ارحمنا يا عم الأعداء أدركنا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه الطاهرين في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا